So today we have the pleasure to interview Jimmie El Terror Rivera, who is a bantamweight UFC fighter and had the kindness to give us some minutes of his time. So Jimmie, thank you very much and welcome to Somos MMA.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, the first question that maybe we should ask you is, how are you dealing with all this pandemic situation?
It sucks. We actually just opened up the gym training for just the pro fighters this week, so we're able to train. Besides that, I have two Tiger Showman schools, one in Brooklyn and one in the city, and I primarily teach at the one in the city. So it sucks because we haven't been able to see our students, but we've been able to still teach by doing Zoom classes. So we've been doing online classes for the students that want to train and take classes, and we've been doing that, and it's the best alternative now until the governor opens us up and we could go back in and start to teach.
And what about you and your training sessions?
It's good. I mean, the first week is always the worst week. Got in, trained this past week. Feeling better. My injury's feeling a lot better. I mean, still a little achy here and there, but it's just good to get back in and train and not sit home and do workouts from home and do nothing. You know, it's good to be able to see my teammates, and some of my teammates were not open completely. We're just open for just the pros, and that's it. So there's about, I want to say 10 to 12 pros that were just training and helping some of our teammates get ready for fights. Like I think Shane and Lyman Good and Trezano, I'm not sure, but Shane and Lyman Good would probably be fighting within the next month or two.
Jimmie, regarding your fight status, when are you going to be able to fight again? How much is it going to take you?
We're probably looking towards sometime end of June or July, some point, just to get back in. I mean, I was off for a while, and then, you know, the whole pandemic happened, and we had closed the gym down, and we weren't able to train. And sorry about that. I just had to get my dogs. I apologize. We weren't able to train, so it sucks. So now that we finally opened it up, I mean, it was a good month and a half. Duke, come here. A good month and a half before, you know, we were able to open up and just do something for the pros. And technically, we're not supposed to be open, but right now, since the UFC started fights, we opened up so we can start to train and get ready.
Your last fight was in June of 2019. You think ring rust is going to be a factor when you return?
Nah, I don't think so at all. I got trained with a lot of good guys in the room and guys that are active. I mean, I feel like a handful of fighters have been pushed back just with their time or when they wanted to come back and return. So I don't think ring rust is going to be a factor at all. I just think my biggest thing is just finding the right opponent, finding someone that's going to help me get closer to the belt.
And for example, the sparring sessions, taking into account that, as you said, you can't train normally. How do you think it's going to affect you in a possible comeback?
The sparring sessions?
Yeah.
We have actually, funny or not, we haven't even started sparring yet. We've been doing like live jiu-jitsu and MMA and all that, wrestling. We've been doing pad work and drilling. We haven't, we spar, but we haven't gone like super hard yet. We've just been working on getting our timing back. So like slowly stepping into it. We haven't hit like really hard rounds yet or anything like that. We haven't been, you know, I guess you want to say balls to the wall and going super hard and doing 3-5s or whatever the person has coming up fight wise. So,
Jimmie, who are you targeting in your return? You have something working out? Yesterday, Cheeto's losing. So I don't know if you maybe want to fight him.
Why would I fight him?
He's in the division. I don't know.
What would he do to help me get closer to the belt? So that's it. I mean, I agreed to fight in the beginning, but then I have always dealt with this injury. I had a pinched nerve in my neck, too, actually. And I've always dealt with it, and it just got worse in that fight camp, especially where we were working. And I ended up getting injured and hurt. I did see the fight. I thought the fight was really interested in how they scored it. A lot of fights Saturday night were really interesting scoring wise. Like even Barboza fight, I thought Barboza won. But it's kind of hard to see, what the judges are looking for, or if they changed their judging somehow. Like, usually, you get takedowns, and if you're just laying on top of the person, they don't count as points. But if you get a takedown and you're working, that counts, and that's big. So it was very interesting to see what was going on with the scoring wise. With just fighting for myself, just looking like I would obviously love to get a rematch with Jan. I won 14 minutes and 30 seconds of the fight and lost 30 seconds. That he dropped me at the last 10, 15 seconds of the first and second. If I just did, it was my fault. I'm not saying anybody's fault. I just, towards the end of the round, I knew where it was, and I was just kind of coasting where I should have kept fighting. Would love to fight that. Would love to fight Marlon again. I'm really not sure what they're doing with the division, so I probably won't get an answer right away of what's going on, just because Henry Cejudo said he's going to retire. So now, that gives what makes sense is Jan and Aljamain Sterling to fight for the belt, but you're not sure if they're going to do that or four-man tournament. You're not sure if Aldo is going to fight Jan. Also you're with a pandemic right now, so how can Jan get into the States? How could Aldo get into the States? That's what was the whole point why Cruz fought for the belt, was he was the only one in the States with a big name that's been around for a long time to fight Henry Cejudo, and that's what Henry wanted. He wanted that or Aldo. He wanted a big name. You look at someone with a big name, it kind of helps his legacy as well. At the same time, I think, it was almost like you had someone that didn't fight for 2 to 3, actually over 3 years, or you had someone like Aldo who, he wanted Aldo too, so you can't say it was a big legacy move, and I think he wanted someone with a bigger name than like Jan or Sterling. I haven't been around that long, but those guys like Aldo and Cruz have been around for a very long time, even Faber. But it was just a luck of the draw. I think that Cruz ended up getting the fight.
And you just have mentioned Henry Cejudo. Do you believe he has truly retired?
He could. He could have retired and maybe come back in a year or two, get a better deal, and fight again. I don't know. That's why it's like everything's up in the air, and that's why like when you ask about fights and stuff like that, I probably have no idea what they're gonna do. If he's definitely done, it should be interesting. But what I'm happy about is that at least if he's done, that makes the division go even faster now, because now they have to crown another champion. So that means a fight's gonna happen within the next 2 to 3 months, and then another fight's gonna happen this year to defend the belt. That's always been the biggest issue with Cody getting hurt, Cruz getting hurt, Cejudo getting hurt. So instead of the belt being defended 2 to 3 times a year, it gets defended once a year, and it makes the division just at a standstill. So now they're trying to figure out fights instead of just letting people climb the ladder and keep fighting, and then the belt's always at a constant movement. So at the same time, I have nothing against Cruz, but I'm glad he didn't win, because, what if he wins and he's hurt? Now he's out. How long? Now what do you do? And they never made an interim belt at 35. They did it at other weight classes, but I don't believe they ever did it at 35 or even 45.
Would you like an interim belt in the bantamweight division?
I don't think there's any need for it unless Cejudo is gonna stay fighting, and then you still don't need it because he could fight in like September, October time. That would be obviously the best time for him to come back and fight again. Realistically, if you're thinking every 3 or 4 months that the champ defends the belt, I don't think there's a need for it. I just think there should be an interim belt only when the number one contender like Jan, let's say, can't fight the champ because the champ right now is hurt or something like that, or something's going on. Most of the time it's just hurt. So keeping the division going like that.
Jimmie, sorry for my English, but do you want a revenge with Moraes, Peter Guiano, and Sterling?
With Sterling, honestly, all my losses, I've learned a lot from them. Jan, I would love to fight. I think it'd be a great rematch. And if you guys saw the fight or if you watched it, it was like I literally lost the end of the first and end of the second round. And I'm not going to lie, he called me like that left straight hand and that hook, did not see it coming, dropped me, scrambled, worked back up. And I would, love, because I think I've been the only one to really test him. in the division. You know, you saw the Faber fight, you saw all his fights before. They're all finishes, except for the Dodson fight. But you can't say much to the Dodson fight because the same thing that happened to me with Dodson happened to him and Dodson. You know, he got hit hard, and Dodson's more of a counter fighter, and he waits for you to run in. And Jan was smart about it. I was smart about it. So I would love to fight Jan again. I would love to fight Moraes again and just, you know, get that back. Or even Sterling, because I just didn't, you know, I had a bad weight cut and I just didn't show up that night. So I always would love to get those losses back. But right now they're in a position where they have a win. So I have to figure out kind of what's next. If I had to pick something, I would love to fight either Aldo, since he lost his last fight, even though it was controversial. I really, you know, thought it could go the other way. I thought he won it. But since he lost the last one, or even Frankie Edgar too, because he's supposed to drop down, that would be awesome. With my, you know, fighting someone that has a huge legacy and be able to, you know, share the octagon with him would be sick. So I would love to fight one or the other. What's going to happen right now, I'm not sure. So it's kind of on pause. And the only way for them to be able to fight, I think right now at this time, is Fight Island because of everything that's going on. So that depends on when Fight Island is going to be ready. And I wouldn't mind going there and fighting, you know, obviously Aldo. But Frankie, that's something we could do in the States. So that'd be cool because he's from Jersey. I'm from Jersey. So it's a nice North Jersey, South Jersey clash. Besides that, I think a lot of the guys are kind of tied up. You know what I mean? I'm not really sure because it was supposed to be Marlon and Jan and Sterling and Corey Sandhagen. Now it's, you know, not really sure what's going to happen. And then I'm not even sure, you know, where the UFC is going to keep taking the fights, if they're going to keep staying in Florida or if Vegas is going to finally open up. And I know they want to go back home. That's their home. So it should be interesting to see what happens.
Gracias por visitar Somos MMA en YouTube. No olvides suscribirte a nuestro canal y activar las notificaciones para seguir disfrutando de nuestro contenido.